Hi everybody. So today we're going to have a little look at the login for instructors here at Around the Bend and DRM Driving School. We've developed the system which is access essentially to the Office database in order for you to be able to log in and to have more control over how things work for you. So things like your pupil requirements, what time of day you're available, how to claim and view what franchise-free weeks you've got available, and a few other bits and pieces as well. And this will be developed over time to give you more control over the way that things work so that we can work around you. So by now you should have received an email with login details from the office. If you're a DRM instructor, this will be branded as a DRM email, so do look out for that. I've set up a test instructor, and in here would normally be your email address, so I've set that up with support@atbdriving.co.uk. The system has issued a simple but random password which we can change later, and I'll run through that at the time, and then I'll link now to the actual system where you can get logged in. So if we click on the link, it takes us to the login page. In here we put your email address, and then we need the password. So the best way to do that is if you double click the password, you should highlight it, right click to copy, go back to your login page, right click to paste. You can type it in, just make sure you do it really carefully. Obviously with it being a random set of letters and numbers, it's easy to make a typo. If you do copy and paste it, much easier, much less chance of it going wrong. And then we click on login, and that will take us then to our instructor homepage. So what we can see, ignore this bit just for now, what we can see here is that as an instructor, I've got it down here that we need 3 learners at the moment, that we're only available on a weekend in the afternoon, and the postcode areas that I cover are from TS 10, 11, 12, right up to 16 there. I've got 3 franchise-free weeks available, and I'll find out more information about that in just a second. And then underneath, we've got details of any learners that we've got currently on our books. Now, obviously I've put in a couple of test learners here. There will be people who, when you get logged in, there will be people missing from your list, and we've got the ability for you then to go in and add a learner. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to run through how to update your requirements and look at your franchise-free weeks, and then we'll come back and we'll deal with the learners in a second. So I can either click My Details, or I can click on Edit to get to the same place, and that will then take us into a screen where we can carry out a few different functions. At the top, we've got your franchise-free weeks. So you've got 3 franchise-free weeks available, and depending on how many franchise-free weeks you have, you'll then have a date in here which will be the date at which the next franchise-free week accrues. Any queries with any of that, do give us a call at the office. When we're looking at claiming a week, we can either claim 1 week, so we live just as 1, and we can select what week we want to claim. Or if we want to claim more than 1 week, we can also do that. I'm going to put down 2. In order to claim 2 different weeks, you need to select the first week, press and hold Control on your keypad, keep it held while you select the second week, and then press Claim. What that does is it sends an email to the Accounts at ATB office address. It means that we can then pick that up, we can deal with the credits, make the appropriate arrangements at this end to credit you for those weeks. And you can see there, you've claimed 2 weeks there, we've received that. If you've got any issues, any questions on that, we will give you a call, and you've got 1 week remaining. So you can be assured that that's actually happened. The office has got your details, and we've processed those credits. Further down, this is where you can update your password. So if I want to change my password, I just type a new one in there, and at the bottom click Update. I'm not going to do that because I want to keep the password as is. If you do change your password and you forget it, just give us a call or drop us an email at the office, or send a text in. We can quite easily reset your login details, send you out another random password, which you can log in and you can change that back to something more memorable again. Not a problem. I'm now going to update my number of learners required. I've managed to get a couple of customers myself, so I actually only need 1 at the moment. Oops. And I'm not available on a weekend anymore. It would only be a weekday on a morning. So I can select those details. When we convert a pupil in the office, first of all the system checks on which postcode and which driving school. It then finds an instructor within that area, and then it shows your availability and we've got the pupils' availability because we've just spoken to them. So we'll try our very best to match requirements every single time. In an event where you can't fit a pupil in, if it just won't fit with your diary, please do just text back saying, I can't, thanks for Joe Blogs, can't fit him in. Please can you organise another instructor? And again, we'll do our best to do that as well. We've given you access to what postcode areas you cover. Just be a little bit careful on this, in that if you do, say for example, if you do just decide that you're only going to cover TS10, then you are limiting the number of pupils that will be available to you. A pupil in TS11, which is only a few minutes away, when we're allocating via the office, your name just won't appear in the list because you don't cover that postcode area. So, be reasonable. Put in the areas there that you would be prepared to cover. If you're wanting to trim down your postcode areas, it might be worth first having a conversation with either myself or somebody in the office regarding that, just to make sure that you're not going to shoot yourself in the foot. Adding in additional postcode areas, again, just be careful. Each postcode area needs to be separated with a comma and then needs to be typed out in full. Okay, we can't just write TS12. We can't just write TS12 to 99. Each one needs to be TS12, TS13, TS14, TS15, etc., etc. All those postcode areas should be accurate because we've been working on those with you, for however long. If you do need to make a tweak to that, by all means, make a tweak. When you click update, we do get an email at the office. It updates us with how many learners you've required. It tells us you've changed your availability and/or you've changed your postcode areas. So that is something that we will double check at this end. But like I say, just try and be careful when you are doing it. Make sure each one's done in full and with a comma in between it. And we can see the details have been updated successfully there. If I go back to the home screen now, what we'll see is that the learners have been updated to 1. We've got AM a weekday and we've got the new set of postcode areas here. We can also see that our franchise 3 weeks available has now gone down to 1. In order to add a learner into the system, just click Add Learner. We've built into the system something which hopefully will prevent duplications. If you add in a learner who either hasn't got an instructor or is allocated to you and we've got the same name as somebody that's already in the system, it will flag up and say we've already got someone of this system. It'll display their details and you get the option to either A, reactivate that learner, or B, carry on and add a new learner. So hopefully that will stop 2 learners of the same person being on the system. So I'm just going to put in another test learner here. So we're going to use my imagination. We're going to go with test learner 3 and we're going to put just a bogus address in. We can add contact details into there. A home number if we've got it, that would be fantastic. And an email address as well, no problem at all. We don't necessarily need the date of birth or the driver number at this stage, but if you've got it, fantastic to put it on the system. If anything happens, if a pupil's test is cancelled at short notice, we need to try and help them find a cancellation. It'd be really useful to have that information too. And then whether they're taking manual or automatic lessons. If we click Add Learner, that learner then goes into our list of into our list of pupils, and they'll be down there as learning. Okay, this learning status is pretty important, and we'll move on to that next. So let's have a little look at test learner 3, who we've just set up. Heading into there, we've got the details. We can see that it was added by the instructor, manual lessons, not doing an intensive course. We're going to add in a function so you can say what lesson type that they've started on, whether it be a 4 for 40, a beginner deal, whether it be an assessment lesson or some standard rate lessons, and that there's no prepayments on account. So the pupil hasn't called the office and paid for any lessons, and we haven't paid that down to you just yet. So that's a basic learner. One thing you can do here is you can update the status of the learner, and taking that in, what we can do is we can put down here whether that learner's taking a break, perhaps they didn't convert, or that they weren't contactable, or that they've passed their test. And if we click past, what it does do is it prompts us then for the test results down here. If they're just learning and they've got their theory test or their practical test booked, you can add in a date. Okay, so you can put in the details, the test date and time. If we put in a past practical test date that's prior to today, so it's already passed, it will then prompt us for a result. If we put down that they've passed, it then prompts us for what attempt number it was, how many faults were there, and then any comments. You know, say for example, if they were particularly nervous, or they had a particular issue with parallel parking, or it was really foggy and they overcame those those conditions and actually went through and passed, and perhaps they got a clean sheet. Put some comments down there. It's really interesting for for other people. If we put the past picture up on Facebook, it's really nice to have a little story about something. You know, if you've got somebody who's maybe failed 4 or 5 times with the driving schools, come on board, and they've passed first time with us, then it wants to go down as attempt number 1 because it's our first time pass. And some comments on there saying, you know, that they've had a real bad experience. It's taken them a long time, but you know, they've gone and done it. Fantastic. If they failed, just click fail, click submit, and it's job done. If you want to come back out of there 1 second, go back to the home screen. If we put in a test date and we log out, and then the next time we come back and that test date is passed, that's where this little bit at the top comes in. So this is where we are prompted to enter a result. So it's saying that test learner 1 actually has had their test. We need to go in and update the details. We need to put in that result. So with this learner, on this particular occasion, they didn't pass. So we're going to put down fail. Going to click submit. You can see now test learner 1 still learning, and obviously we would need to go back in with a new test date, and we would need to update those details and put the test date in. If, say for example, they have passed, if you're going to update test learner 2, he's the lucky one. What I would do here is I would then go into here and say this customer has passed, and I would then be prompted for the test results. Okay, excellent drive, overcame those nerves and nailed it. Just one thing to mention on here before I carry on is the prepayments here. So we can see the customer originally paid for 10 hours on the 15th of February, and we can then see that as an instructor, we've got the lesson dates and the money that was claimed out of the account, leaving a balance. So it'll give you the total balance at the bottom. Okay, so we're back to the test. We click submit. That then is put into the system. The learner is marked then as passed. Okay, so that's a done learner now, and that learner then, there's an email sent to the office. We will give them a call, drop them a text, just ask for a few comments. You know, find out if they were happy with the service that was provided by the driving school and by the instructor as a whole, and also whether they'd be likely to recommend us to their friends and family. And any constructive feedback that the customer's got. You know, we're always striving to improve the service that we provide as a driving school. You're our ambassadors for that, so we will be looking for some feedback from the pupils, and where we feel that feedback is relevant to the instructor, we'll obviously come back to you and let you know that we got some really nice comments, or that there was a problem with something. There's something that we could be doing better, and it may flag up the need for additional training, or it may flag up the need for us to do something extra in the office to prevent things from happening again. So it's a really valuable piece of information, and certainly having those reviews, if we know that 97% of all of our pupils are likely to recommend us to friends and family, that's a fabulous marketing tool for the driving school and for you as an instructor as well. And that's it for now. So if you do have any questions, any queries, any suggestions on how to make the system better, functions you'd like to see, or you just need a little bit of help and support using it, give us a call, drop us a text here at the office, and we'll be only too happy to help. I hope you found the video useful, and I shall look forward to hearing from you soon.